The moment Jonathan Roumie stepped onto that stage, Elon Musk had no idea he was walking into a trap. The thunderous applause echoed through the packed auditorium as Jonathan walked with quiet confidence, the same presence that captivated millions as Jesus in The Chosen. But tonight wasn't about acting. Tonight, he was about to destroy the most powerful tech mogul on the planet with a secret he'd been hiding for 3 years. Across from him sat Elon Musk, smug and calculating under the stage lights. The billionaire who'd spent months declaring AI would make human actors obsolete within 5 years. This wasn't just an interview. This was war for the soul of humanity itself. Millions watched live as Musk leaned forward, fingers tapping his armrest, that familiar condescending smirk spreading across his face. He thought he was debating another terrified Hollywood actor. He was dead wrong. Musk couldn't wait to strike. "I have to admit, Jonathan," he began with dripping superiority, "I was surprised you accepted this invitation. AI is the future of storytelling, especially religious content. Biblical narratives are just ancient mythology that I can recreate and improve upon." The audience chuckled nervously. Musk's eyes gleamed as he went for the kill. People don't need human actors playing religious figures when AI can generate perfect, controversy-free biblical characters that never age, never cause scandals, and never demand million-dollar salaries. The brutal personal attack came next. "Jonathan, you're in your 40s now. Do you honestly think studios will still cast human actors to play Jesus when they can generate a scientifically optimized digital messiah?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Musk sat back, arms crossed, waiting for Jonathan to crumble under technological inevitability. But Jonathan Roumie didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled. Not a polite media smile, but a knowing smile that carried deadly secrets. He leaned forward, his voice soft, but cutting like steel. "Tell me, Elon, have you ever experienced grace?" Dead silence. Musk blinked in confusion, trying to process why that mattered. Jonathan's tone was almost gentle, like speaking to a lost child. "You can program an algorithm to simulate prayer. You can create digital miracles. You can generate perfect crucifixion scenes." The pause was electric. "But can your AI feel the weight of carrying humanity's sins? Can it understand forgiving someone who's trying to destroy you?" His eyes locked onto Musk's. "You can simulate salvation, but can you experience it?" The audience erupted. Musk's smirk vanished, replaced by something that looked like fear. For the first time in years, the man who wanted to colonize Mars was facing someone who understood what he'd never grasped, what it actually meant to be human. The real battle was just beginning, and Musk was already losing. Musk's jaw tightened. He wasn't used to being caught off guard, and Jonathan's grace question had rattled him more than he'd admit. But billionaires don't stay billionaires by backing down. He forced a dismissive laugh, waving his hand like brushing away smoke. "Oh, come on, Jonathan. Let's be realistic here." His voice sharpened, regaining that tech bro arrogance. "Grace? Experience? These are just chemical reactions in your brain. AI can already generate biblical stories, create lifelike religious figures, even compose hymns that move people to tears." The massive LED screen behind them suddenly flickered to life. Musk's eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction. "Let me show you something." The audience gasped as a perfect holographic Jesus materialized on screen. Flawless skin, piercing eyes, moving with divine grace. The digital savior raised his hand in blessing, spoke in ancient Aramaic, then English. Every gesture was perfect. Every word carried weight. It was terrifying in its beauty. Musk gestured triumphantly toward his creation. "This was built in 24 hours using our latest AI. Perfect theology, zero controversy, infinite patience. It never gets tired, never breaks character, never demands creative control." He leaned back, savoring the moment. "In 5 years, maybe less, Studios won't need human actors for religious content. Machines don't have personal beliefs that interfere with the message. They don't age out of roles or cause behind-the-scenes drama. His smirk returned full force. Tell me, Jonathan, how exactly do you compete with perfection? The audience was stunned into silence. Some stared at the screen in awe. Others looked deeply unsettled. Here was technology that could literally play God. Musk had just demonstrated the future, and it was beautiful, terrifying, and seemingly unstoppable. The camera zoomed in on Jonathan's face, waiting for panic, for defeat, for the moment when reality crushed idealism. But Jonathan never even looked at the screen. He sat perfectly still, that same knowing smile playing at his lips. When he finally spoke, his voice was so quiet, the entire auditorium strained to hear. That's beautiful, Elon. A pause that felt like eternity. But let me ask you something. His eyes found Musk's and held them like a vice. When someone is suffering, when they're broken, lost, drowning in addiction or grief, do they need a perfect hologram, or do they need to see that someone real has walked through hell and found hope? The question hit the room like lightning. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as people began to understand what Jonathan was really saying. He leaned forward slightly, his voice gaining power. Faith isn't about perfection, Elon. It's about connection. It's about seeing God in the broken, the flawed, the beautifully human struggle toward redemption. Musk tried to interrupt, but Jonathan wasn't finished. Your AI can perform miracles on screen, but can it sit with a mother who just lost her child? Can it understand what it means to doubt God and still choose faith? Can it know the weight of human weakness and still offer grace? His voice rose just enough to fill every corner of the auditorium. Because salvation isn't a program, Elon. It's a relationship. The audience erupted. People were on their feet, some wiping tears, others shouting agreement. Musk's perfect hologram still glowed on the screen behind them, but suddenly it looked empty, hollow, a beautiful shell with no soul inside. Musk's smirk had completely vanished, replaced by something dangerous, the look of a man who realizes he's not just losing an argument, but facing an opponent who might actually be his equal. Jonathan turned away from Musk completely, facing the audience like a pastor addressing his congregation. Let me ask all of you something. His voice carried magnetic authority. Why do people still pack churches instead of watching perfect AI sermons at home? Why do they want human pastors who stumble and cry instead of flawless digital prophets? Then came the moment that broke the internet. Jonathan pointed at the camera, his voice rising with power. If you believe faith requires a human heart, not a perfect algorithm, drop a 7 in the comments right now. The explosion was instant. Phones lit up everywhere. The chat became a waterfall of 7s. Musk watched in horror as his debate became a digital revival. But Musk struck back with brutal precision. Enough poetry, Jonathan. Let's talk reality. His voice cut like ice. AI religious content is pulling billions in revenue. Studios invest in AI biblical epics because they're cheaper and faster. His smile was razor sharp. The industry doesn't care about your spiritual journey. It cares about profit. The kill shot came next. Musk's voice dropped to a whisper. What's stopping Netflix from using AI to generate a younger, controversy-free Jesus? One that never ages, never causes scandals, never demands profit participation? The audience gasped. Do you think audiences will care if it's the real Jonathan Roumie, or just a digital prophet that tests better? Deafening silence. Cameras waited for Jonathan to crack, but he just smiled wider, the smile of someone who'd been waiting for this exact moment. Fair question, Elon. But let me ask you something. His eyes locked onto Musk's. If AI can create better religious content, cheaper and faster, then why is The Chosen, made with human actors and human struggles, the most successful crowd-funded series in history? The audience erupted. Jonathan wasn't finished. Why are faith-based films with real actors breaking box office records, while CGI spectacles collect dust? Because people don't just want to see a story about God, Elon. They want to feel God through the story. And that only happens when real souls pour themselves into the work. Musk's confident smirk was cracking. His economic argument was falling apart in real time, and millions were watching it happen. Musk's face darkened. His economic argument had backfired spectacularly, and now he was cornered. But wounded billionaires are the most dangerous kind. He leaned forward, voice dropping to something cold and calculating. You talk about feeling God through stories, Jonathan. But let's discuss what really matters here: control. His eyes glinted with predatory intelligence. Faith is just neural patterns, chemical reactions. AI can simulate belief systems perfectly, without the messy human variables. Jonathan tilted his head, studying Musk like he was looking at a lost child. Is that what you think faith is, Elon? A system to control? The question hung in the air like a blade. Because real faith isn't about controlling outcomes. It's about surrendering to something bigger than yourself. His voice carried quiet authority. And that's something no algorithm will ever understand. The beauty of letting go. Musk scoffed, but there was desperation creeping into his voice. You're missing the bigger picture, Jonathan. This isn't about faith versus technology. It's about progress, evolution, survival itself. His hands gestured sharply. AI doesn't have human weaknesses: doubt, fear, inconsistency. It can deliver perfect spiritual content every single time. His voice rose. In the end, it's not about what we want. It's about what humanity needs to move forward. The room tensed. This was the core of everything. Who gets to decide humanity's future? Jonathan's expression shifted, and suddenly everyone could see why millions followed him as Jesus. There was something in his eyes that was both gentle and absolutely terrifying. But who decides what humanity needs, Elon? The question was quiet, but it cut through the auditorium like thunder. Do you think wisdom comes from processing data faster? Jonathan stood slowly, his presence filling the stage. Or does it come from walking through the valley of the shadow of death and still choosing love? The audience was frozen, captivated. The real question isn't whether AI can replicate faith. The real question is whether we should let it replace the very struggles that make faith meaningful. Musk opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time in his life, the man who had answers for everything was speechless. Jonathan pressed forward, his voice gaining prophetic power. Because here's what you don't understand about faith, Elon. It's not a product to be optimized. It's not content to be consumed. He stepped closer to Musk, who seemed to shrink in his chair. Faith only grows in the broken places. And you can't program brokenness. You can only live it. The silence was absolute. Every person in that auditorium could feel something shift, not just in the debate, but in the very air around them. Musk sat frozen, staring at Jonathan like he was seeing him for the first time. This wasn't just an actor anymore. This was something else entirely. And for the first time in years, Elon Musk looked genuinely afraid of another human being. Musk forced a dry laugh, desperately trying to regain control. His hands were shaking slightly as he gripped his chair. All right, Jonathan, enough sermons. What's your grand plan here? Start some religious revolution against progress? His voice cracked with forced confidence. Convince Hollywood to choose heart over profit? Or are you just going to pray that people suddenly become more spiritual? Jonathan's smile turned dangerous. The kind of smile that meant someone was about to get destroyed. My plan? He paused, letting the tension build to a breaking point. Elon, I already started it. The audience gasped. Musk's eyes widened in genuine shock. 3 years ago, while you were trying to replace faith with code, I was doing something else entirely. Jonathan's voice dropped to almost a whisper, forcing millions to lean forward. I wasn't fighting technology. I was building it. Absolute chaos erupted. The audience exploded into screams and applause. The chat went completely insane. Musk sat frozen, his mouth slightly open, processing what he'd just heard. This wasn't supposed to happen. Jonathan Roumie, the actor, the faith guy, wasn't supposed to be a tech player. For 3 years, I've been secretly funding faith-based AI initiatives across Silicon Valley. Jonathan's voice cut through the noise like a sword. Not AI that replaces human connection with God, but AI that helps people find it. The revelation hit like a nuclear bomb. Artificial intelligence that translates ancient scriptures in real time. Artificial intelligence that connects isolated believers across the globe. AI that helps missionaries in remote areas where no human can reach. Musk's face went pale. His empire was built on being the smartest guy in every room, and he'd just been blindsided completely. That's impossible, he stammered. I would have known. My networks would have detected. Jonathan leaned forward, his eyes burning with quiet fire. Maybe you were too busy playing God to notice the people actually serving him. The audience lost their minds. Social media was melting down. Jonathan Owns Elon was trending worldwide in real time. You see, Elon, while you were building AI to replace humans, I was building AI to empower them. Jonathan stood again, commanding the stage like a king. Technology serving faith, not destroying it. Code that brings people closer to the divine, not further from it. His voice rose to fill every corner of the auditorium. You want to know the difference between us? You use technology to play God. I use it to help people find God. Musk sat in stunned silence, his entire worldview crashing down around him. The man he thought was just another threatened actor had just revealed himself as a major player in the very game Musk thought he owned. And worse, Jonathan had been winning for 3 years without Musk even knowing the game had started. Musk's face twisted with desperation. His last card was personal destruction. So what? You think you can out-innovate me? Outbuild me? His voice turned vicious. You're an actor, Jonathan. A glorified employee reading lines. What makes you think you understand technology better than someone who's revolutionized entire industries? Jonathan's eyes lit up with deadly calm. This was the moment he'd been waiting for. I don't need to understand technology better than you, Elon. His voice was soft as silk, sharp as steel. I just need to understand people better. Musk scoffed, but uncertainty flickered in his eyes. Jonathan smiled like a predator who'd cornered his prey. Tell me something, Elon. If I'm so irrelevant, if AI is so superior to human connection. He paused, letting the trap close. Why are you here? The room went dead silent. Musk blinked, realizing too late what was happening. Jonathan leaned forward, delivering the kill shot. You had every resource to send an AI representative. You could have programmed the perfect debater, but you chose to be here. A real human, having a real conversation. Musk's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Jonathan's voice gained power. Even you, the champion of artificial intelligence, still needed a human moment to make your point. Because deep down, you know what no algorithm can replicate. The audience held their breath. Connection doesn't happen through perfection. It happens through presence. The audience erupted. Musk sat paralyzed, his entire argument collapsing. The man who preached AI superiority had just proven Jonathan's point by choosing to be human when it mattered most. He'd walked straight into the trap, and millions had watched him do it. Jonathan stood, radiating quiet victory. That's why people will always choose the human story of faith over the digital simulation of it. Because you can't program a soul, Elon. You can only be one. Musk made one last desperate attempt. His voice was tight, almost breaking. What gives you the right to challenge me on technology? You're just a television actor. What makes you qualified to speak about the future?" Jonathan's response was nuclear, his voice calm as mountain water, deadly as lightning. "I don't need to be a tech genius to understand the future, Elon." The pause was electric. "I just need to understand the human soul." The audience exploded. Musk's face went blank, completely defeated. Jonathan turned to the crowd, his voice rising with prophetic power. "The future isn't built by the smartest algorithms or the most efficient systems. It's built by people who remember that technology should serve humanity's highest calling." His eyes blazed. "And that calling isn't efficiency. It's love." He pointed at the audience like a general rallying troops. "This isn't about AI or entertainment. This is about whether we'll let technology replace the sacred or use it to make the sacred more accessible." His voice thundered. "There are powerful people who want you to believe faith is obsolete, that human connection is inefficient. But that's not just wrong. It's dangerous." The final battle cry came like thunder. "The future of faith doesn't belong to machines. It belongs to us." The crowd was on its feet, roaring. "If you believe technology should serve the soul, not replace it. If you believe AI should help us find God, not play God, drop a yes in the comments right now." The chat exploded into chaos. Millions of yes responses flooded the screen. Jonathan delivered the kill shot, staring directly into the camera. "Because at the end of the day, Elon, you can simulate miracles." His voice dropped to a whisper that somehow filled the world. "But only humans can live them." The screen faded to black with white letters. "The future belongs to those who choose love over logic." Subscribe now. Musk sat in silence, completely destroyed. Jonathan Roumie had just changed everything.